Hello, week 15 of my training. I skipped a couple weeks because I was vacationing in Mexico, but I am back. Sorry, I didn't skip a couple weeks of training. Did not skip training. I just skipped a couple weeks of these videos because I was on vacation. So we're going to do a little bit of catch up. I did in Mexico a 14-mile long run on the treadmill, then a 15-mile long run on the treadmill. It was such a good learning experience being in Mexico in a hot hotel gym. So I was in Cabo. It's really hilly. I was sort of on the other side of the mountains in Cabo. If you've ever been to Cabo, anyways, doesn't matter. But if I was going to run outside, I would be probably running at a 7 to 10% pitch exclusively. And I was just not in the mood to do that at all. That would actually blow out my training. So it was treadmill, it was. But what was really good about it is that Cabo is dry, but it was really humid in the gym just because of all the humans. So it was hot. I always got in there early, like before they had turned on the air conditioning. So it was hot. It was really humid. And then I am now in phase 2 of my training. I put on YouTube a recap of my phase 1. So that phase 1 was just getting myself in really great half marathon shape and just building my foundation. Now phase 2 is getting myself into prime marathon fitness, just continually building the foundation and building it again and building it and building it and building it. And so really, again, still like mostly zone 2 heart rate runs, one run a week where I push it into zone 3. But something that my coach Gemini, has now added in is a steeper pitch on the treadmill. Phase 1, I was doing just like 0.5% pitch on the treadmill because that helps to simulate being on the road a little bit more. Now I'm working generally at like a 2 or 3% pitch on that treadmill. And that really is to work on bulletproofing my ankle, Achilles, lower calf, the soleus. Because if anything's going to blow out over the repetition, well, a lot of things could blow out, but in watching the other runners, that was the thing that blew out the most, was the Achilles, the soleus. So I've been doing a ton of core and accessory work. You don't do core work but I've been doing a ton of accessory work for my ankles, my feet, my big toe joint, things like that. And so now just it's strong enough that I can add that pitch in and just let it get stronger over time. Strength training is going really well. Obviously, the hotel gym, they have a great gym there, but some of the weights weren't as heavy, but I wasn't mad at it. To have a little bit lighter couple weeks. What was really good about being in the heat and humidity of that gym, though, is that I really got to see how much slower my paces had to be in order to maintain the heart rates that my coach wanted me to. So a zone 2 heart rate, I had to be like a minute and a half slower than I normally am in my treadmill here where it's cool, central Canada in the wintertime. That was very humbling. It is incredibly humbling, and it takes an incredible amount of patience to do a 15-mile run on the treadmill at like an 11-mile pace. Because with the pitch and with the heat and humidity, my heart rate got into zone 2. That was the pace. Wow. Like, talk about humble pie. But I'm glad for it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the humble pie. I'm here for all the things. But yeah, so that was very interesting. I had an awful run, probably one of the last runs I was there. I'm going to talk about this actually in a YouTube video on March 9th is when I'm putting it up. I just finished editing it. And about, when I go on vacation, I really just pay attention to portion sizes. I don't track macros anymore on vacation. It's just such a waste to be in my phone that much. But I really look for portion sizes overall, focus on protein, eat vegetables and fruit just to keep the fiber in there, right? Because people notoriously get constipated on vacation. And that doesn't happen to me anymore if I just focus on protein and fruit and veggies. But the starchy carbs really got put to the background. And I really felt that cumulative effect of the depleted glycogen. So if you are new here or you don't know, carbohydrates get stored in your liver and in your muscles as glycogen. It's like putting stored gas in the tank. Like you have your car outside, you got some gas in the tank for when you need it. That's what that stored energy is. And I was predominantly, I just know that I was eating a good amount of protein and a lot of fat, just because the fish was cooked in butter, the vegetables cooked in butter, everything in the buffet. Like, it's a very healthy place where we go, but inevitably they want the food to taste good. Butter and oil is the way to go. So I already know that. So I really left out a lot of the starchy carbohydrates, and I felt it. I had to do a 7 mile run, 3% incline, zone 3 of my heart rate. I got running, and 1 mile in, I was like, I just thought, I don't know how I'm going to finish this run. So I have a whole video coming out about how I managed it, because when I'm running those 7 miles, I'm going to have a moment like that where my legs will feel like dead weights. How am I going to manage that? So you'll see that in the video, but let's go over the data of where I am now. Okay. So let's go, training week 15. Yeah, okay. So I am running a half marathon in Miami on March 1st. So I did a 16-mile long run at home last week when I got back, my first weekend back. It's Thursday right now. So I'm actually doing just a mini tapering down right now. I'm going to do 14 miles this weekend as my long run. My weight bumped up when I was there. Like, the moment I got there, the next morning I was up 5 pounds, and I kind of went down, up, down, and then in the second week it slowly started coming down. Again, I don't panic with that stuff. I know that about myself. Extra sodium, not as much walking. I'm at a resort. We don't excursion. We just vegetate by the pool, and it took a while for my weight to come down the second week. But immediately when I got home, I dropped like all the way. I hit my lowest weight ever. So, I mean, I know that I didn't put on fat. I wasn't even worried about it because I know what I was eating, and I know how I was working out. So, from from 1 week to the next, a 4 pound drop, just water. So, but it was my first time getting into the 130s. I started this at 148 and change. So I've lost 10 pounds since I started this in November, end of October, November. So I'm super happy with that. Slow and steady wins the race. I was supposed to do just over 40 miles. I had a blip this week, everybody. And I'm being totally open and honest. I had a blip. When my husband went out of town for business for like 2 days. And when that happens, because so many of my routines are tied to what we do together. And so sometimes when he goes away, like I have movies saved that like are girl movies that he's not going to want to watch. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll have a glass of wine, watch a movie. I don't drink wine very often, but I was like, I'll have a glass of wine, watch a girl movie, have my dinner. Well, one glass of wine ended up being two. And I was like, I don't need my dinner of a salad. I'm going to eat this bag of chips for dinner instead. So I did. I had 2 glasses of wine and a bag of chips for dinner, and not a small bag of chips. I went at it. But you know what? I did it. And so I didn't think that, like, the next day I felt rotten, not hungover, not sick or anything, but just like I felt like I had kind of like lead weight put into my body. So I didn't do my run. My last run of the week that I was supposed to do, I didn't do because I was just like, there's no way that's happening. I slept in because I felt just lethargic. Yeah, lesson learned. Lesson learned. I know better than that. But the chick flick got me. I got into like vegetating on the couch. See, I'm human, everyone. I had a blip. It's okay. So, immediate thing is forgive myself immediately. No making it up with extra cardio later on. I don't need to make up the miles. I have an amazing foundation. Forgive myself, forget about it, move on. The next day, I drank a lot of water and I just got right back onto my routines. That's it. That's the magic of meal prep too, because I had all my meals prepped. So I just had grab and go. So I did not complete all my miles this week. Total honesty. I blipped, and I've moved on already. My HRV suffered when I was in Cabo, different sleeping, things like that. It just continually went down, 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 down. I had an HRV when I left of about 75. The measure is between 20 and 120. And it's a correlated number for how kind of much your sort of nervous system can come down. It measures your heart rate, a bunch of other stuff. But when I left Cabo, I think it was just below 60, just like not my bed, different sounds, all things like that. So, but now it's coming back up. So this is why it says it's strained. It's just from the travel, and I'm just gonna be okay with that. I started some new supplements as well. What I did, don't know why I didn't think of doing this before, but every year I go to the Cleveland Clinic and get my full blood panel done with an executive health assessment at the Cleveland Clinic. Last time I did that was last April, so it's a little bit behind, but anyways, but Gemini correlated how I'm feeling with my past Dutch test, my GI map, and my blood work. And it was like, okay, you're covering the bases in my other supplements. But it wanted me to add in selenium for my thyroid, PHP, P5P, which is a B6, because I'm low in that, apparently. It says that. I did not know that. But he's like, no, he called Gemini. He correlated it and pointed it out where it was. And phosphatidylserine. This is to help bring my cortisol down, because what my Dutch test showed is that my cortisol rises at the end of the day. And I'm getting anxious towards the end of the day. Part of that is just the way my brain works. I get very anxious of not getting all the things done. So this is one of the only proven supplements to actually help bring your cortisol down. I did not know this. So I learned a lot. Gemini is amazing. It's only for temporary use, though, and it is not a substitute for proper rest, proper recovery, meditation, deep breathing, all those things, shutting your laptop on time. I'm getting so much better at those things. My gosh, if you would have known me like 2 years ago, oh my gosh. So I'm little steps. D3, it reminded me that last year at my Cleveland Clinic, my D3 with my D vitamin was like off the charts high, because the year before it was low. So it was like, hey, stop these for a while. Because, you can actually, I feel fine, but if it remains elevated, it actually can cause some problems, So anyways, so that's it. That was what I was supposed to do. I didn't do that. There's my macros, and you can see here my wine and my chips, it estimated. And so what's coming up this week? I'm entering the final big rock week of my phase 2 before the formal taper for my Miami Beach half marathon. It wants me to focus this week on nervous system stabilization. We're holding the mileage at and below the low 40s. Okay, to solidify my aerobic base. And it totally gets me. My thyroid markers, cortisol data shows me I'm wired but tighter. So it was correlating my blood data to my Dutch test. And so that's really it. I am going to make sure to hit all these miles this week. Here's my macros. I've adjusted my macros as well, actually. One thing that I wanted to do, and when I was away, I had a whole conversation with Gemini about this. I was having same caloric range. I was eating this caloric range before, but I had 155 grams of protein, 220 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of 60 grams of fat. Now that my mileage is increasing so much, I just wanted to bring the protein down. I'm well over 1 gram per pound of body weight, so I'm so in the safe zone. I brought this up by 30 grams a day. And I brought the fat down just by 10 grams a day, just because I want to, just leave more room for carbs, but I want to keep the caloric range. So that's the change I made. And that's it. So lots of great learning lessons from the past couple weeks. I'm really excited to have that information about correlating like my Dutch test, my GI map, and all of my blood work. And so that was really, really interesting. I'm excited to start these new supplements just to help, again, with recovery, keeping my nervous system, which, I'm working on all that. It's a lot of mindset stuff and stopping working at an appropriate time. My goal now is to actually, from Saturday at 1 p.m. until Monday morning, not go on any technology except for watching TV or movies or whatever. But I got to, because this stuff really, it's challenging when you run your businesses online, but I have to learn. I have to teach myself that if I step away for a day, nothing will break. Everything will be fine. And I have to learn that. So no time like the present, because I definitely do not want to get to running these marathons depleted. And it's not just going to magically happen. I have to do it myself. I have to take ownership and accountability of that. Okay. Any questions? Let me know. Have a wonderful week, everyone.